Well, all right, guys, welcome to the backyard. It is an extremely sunny, very nice early spring, late winter afternoon here in my backyard. And welcome to my backyard, by the way. It's always good to see y'all. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of selfie stick self-filming here today and kind of walk around and show you a few things that are going on this time of year. You know, you might be wondering what goes on in a nursery this time of year when things are starting to wake up, and you know, we still got plenty of cold days left for sure, but 70, 75 degrees out here today. The sun is very warm. And what are we doing out here when you're at this time of year? So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what we're doing. A lot of it is just clean up, and man, winter just leaves a mess from just leaves, dead plants, you know, sticks falling here and there, just things to clean up, straighten up, and to get ready for new plants that'll be coming in. Can't wait to show y'all some of my new hostas in a few weeks whenever I get them. But anyway, I want to just show you a few things that either we're doing or that we've done in recent days or recent weeks and what we're working on, and just see what this time of year looks like. So we're just going to kind of do a walk over this way. I'm going to show you this new little low tunnel I've built here, right here. This again is an experiment. Y'all know I like to do experiments out here in the nursery, but this is I'll just kind of show you the view up from this side. Inside there are some trays of cuttings, just like I've showed you how I do my green giants and other plants in the winter. There are some trays of green giants in there, and there are some limelight hydrangeas in there, hardwood cuttings. When I say hardwood, I just mean that I took these cuttings during the cold season while they're not actively growing. That's called hardwood. And as the weather gets warmer, I'm going to enclose that hoop, that little piece of plastic there, just to I'll close this down just to make it humid in there, where it's kind of hot and kind of humid, and see if that helps with the percentage that propagate. We'll see. Last year I did several hundred, or at least attempted to do several hundred of the limelight hydrangeas, and like 98% of them died because they started leafing out really well, but they got burned in the hot sun probably of early May before they develop roots. So I'm going to try to do it this way this year and see how that works out. So that's one thing that's going on right now. Another thing that I've been working on, in fact, I got this yesterday afternoon, a new load of hardwood bark here for my potting soil mixture. This, you kind of see a dividing line there. This is my old bark here, just from, say, last summer, last fall. And as you go on out that way, there's more of the new stuff. You can kind of see the difference in color. But, you know, critical part of getting things right in your nursery is figuring out how you're going to deal with potting soil. You got to figure out how to do lots of potting soil and how to do it without paying way too much money for it. And right up here, I will post the link to my video on potting soil, but it's really simple. Two elements you got to have in your potting soil. You got to have something in your potting soil that holds moisture, that keeps your pot from drying out. You got to have something in your potting soil that aids in drainage. So you don't want your potting soil to be a soppy, wet mess, and you also don't want your water to run through it so quick that it doesn't really have any effect of watering your plants. So this is hardwood bark, ground up at a sawmill. It's just a product that they produce, and I mix it with ground pine bark. Pine bark is drainage. The hardwood bark is for moisture retention. So just a quick little reminder there on how I do my potting soil. I think Penny wants to make an appearance in the video today. She's kind of going nuts over here, so everybody say hey to Penny. She gone. Just walking around seeing what we're doing. Here's my green giants down here, at least some of them. I don't know, a couple hundred of them right here. Something kind of crazy that has happened this winter, and maybe it happens every winter and I just don't remember it, or maybe it was particularly bad for some reason this winter, is the green giant pots in particular have really gotten overran with weeds, even during the winter. It's crazy, you know, we get down to 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, especially in those teens, pretty often in the winter, yet there's some kind of weed that just continues to go nuts growing all winter long, and I mean, it's awful. So Casey and the kids have been spending some time out here pulling some of these weeds out of these green giant pots. Let me show you one of those. All right, so Carly is working on these green giants, weeding these out here, and I just want to show you this. I mean, it's crazy. And look, these are not anywhere close to some of the worst ones. There are some of these weeds. Somebody, if you can tell me what that weed is, anybody knows what that is and what in the world you're supposed to do with those, I'd love to know. But these green giants are just covered with these weeds, and some of them you can't even see the potting soil in the top of the pot. There's so many of them, but you can just pinch them. Whoops, excuse me. like that and just pull them right out. It's no problem. But you know, when you've got hundreds and hundreds of them to do, and they're, you know, in a pile like this, you know, it obviously can be pretty time consuming to do, but it's just part of the winter wake up. Oh, Casey, say hi to everybody. She's out here weeding the green giants too. It looks like Chloe and John are helping too. I forget my kids' names sometimes. Isn't that awful? But they are out here weeding all these, so they're doing a great job, and it's a big part of getting ready for warmer weather. You know, for growing things in the ground, and I like to grow green giants and maybe some hydrangeas in the ground. This bed right here is a great place where I can probably get, I don't know, 80 plants or something. It's just a little small, short bed. This is the time of year to make sure that that bed is ready to start planting things in it. Now, for me, my digging season really needs to be ending about now. I've still probably got a few more weeks because we've probably got another hard freeze or two, or, you know, cold week here or there left. But when your days start getting longer and you can just feel that spring is in the air and you just know that warmer weather's coming. I mean, it's early March now. You got to be wrapping up your digging season if you got things in the ground. You just can't be digging these plants once they break dormancy. They're just not going to survive. So all of my digging has been finished for many weeks, and I've healed in anything that I needed to heal in. But once I get them healed in, then I just kind of prepared the bed, added a little bit of mulch back here to the bed, dug it into the ground to keep it nice and workable. So next year when I dig the plants, they're easy to dig. But anyway, preparing the bed, you need to be doing that now. Won't be long, we'll be putting plants in the ground right here. So it's got to be ready to receive them. If you're looking to get your nursery started, another thing that you need to really figure out, and I've tried to help you on this as much as I can, but this is just some pots that I have, and I'd say, I don't know, there's maybe 600 or 800 pots or something laying right there. But you got to get your hand on some pots, guys, and y'all keep asking me, where do I get my pots from? And I don't mean to be evasive in answering that, but I've given you guys over and over a couple different greenhouse, nursery supply type places, but apparently there's a pot shortage. I don't know what that's all about. And you can't buy saltine crackers and you can't buy nursery pots. Who knew? But you got to keep looking for them, and you got to be persistent, and you need to try to check with local landscapers. Make yourself some in search of type classified ads to paste on Facebook, Craigslist, or wherever you do your online classified stuff. But you got to get your hand on some pots, and you can't wait till the last second and just assume you're going to be able to run somewhere and get them, because there may be a shortage. So it's just something to be thinking about. You got to get your pot situation in order. You know, this time of year, you need to start counting them, making sure you got as many pots for what you're going to need to plant, or you're going to be in trouble and nowhere to put your stuff. And on these warm, sunny days like this, I like to come out here. Like, this is my coral bells, and they were under the low tunnel for most of the winter because they're really young, tender plants. Just wanted to cover them. But they're uncovered. They're soaking in these warm days, beginning to grow, and I look forward to how these go and can't wait to show you the progress on those through the spring and into the summer as well. All right, guys, right here. Man, this is a mess, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. I'm going to get down here low so you can see this. You can see all those vines right there. Those are triple crown thornless blackberries, and they grow these really, really long runners on them. I mean, the runners coming out of these pots are 10 feet long or more, and they're a tangled up mess. So another thing that I've still got to do is go through these and not untangle them, but just prune them back to, you know, 12 inches long or something like that, and cut these long canes off because they're just really a mess, and they will flush out nicely in a matter of weeks. But all this has to be cleaned up. So it's just wasted space out here with all this leaf mess, and get some of these hydrangeas here cleaned up, and just get ready to make room for some of the plants that will be coming in a little while, and things that are going to be coming out of last year's propagation that will need to be potted, etc., to keep the cycle going. So yeah, cleaning up, making room, that's kind of the name of the game this time of year. And over here in the shade house, just any time now we could start potting up these plants that we propagated last year. Just lots and lots of trays here full of hydrangeas. There's some spireas over there, all kinds of smaller hostas that we divided last year that are over there, and there's more back there. But lots of plants here to be potted up. So I don't know how many hundreds of hostas there, or excuse me, hydrangeas there are here, but we'll get to that in time. But this is not an urgent thing to do before warm weather. You can do it now, but as long as they're in these plug trays like this and you don't let them dry out, they'll be fine for several weeks, even greening up here. So we're not necessarily in a rush, but in the coming days and weeks, we'll be working hard getting all this potted, and that's why we have to make sure we have all our potting soil in order. Over here, this may be a rather odd looking thing to look at, but this is a bunch of very, very big green giants, and they're just laying here, and they've been laying here for several weeks, laying here on the ground. But you can see I have them all healed in the ground here, which just means dig a hole, bury their roots, and they're just kind of piled up here, and there's probably 50 or more of them here, and those are bigger than plants I normally sell. Those things are 3 to 4 feet tall each. And the good thing about healing a plant in, I showed you that in the previous video, but when you heal them in, it's a temporary home until you can deal with them. So if you don't need to put anything in a temporary home, there's no reason to do it. But I needed to get these dug so I didn't have to deal with it later. But for now, they sit right here. We'll get them, pot them up, or we'll turn a lot of them into more cuttings and just kind of destroy them for cuttings. But anyway, another spring, early spring chore. Another thing that you need to do in the spring, you really need to do this anytime, but this is a tray. It had, let's see, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These were ruby slipper hydrangeas that we propagated probably 2 seasons ago, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 of them died over the winter, and 1, 2, 3 of them just out of this particular little bunch are still good. So you need to go through your plants and throw out your dead stuff. You know, it's never fun throwing out your dead plants, but it's one of those things that you have to do. It has to be done, and part of propagating plants, part of having a nursery, part of growing plants is the recognition that plants will die. It's just part of the deal. So I guess the goal as time goes on is to have fewer and fewer die, to get better and better and better at this, but you still have to get rid of them. And over here in this old wash tub, there are bundles of dappled willows that are healed in. These were propagated last year from those little single stick hardwood cuttings, and I just healed them in here months ago, probably 2 months ago, in bundles of 10. So there's 10, 20, 30, and those are all nice big plants ready to be sold, but I need to get those out of there pretty soon and get those potted. So 'tis the season for potting, getting things out of their heel-in spots and getting ready to start selling some stuff. All right, guys, so normally I come on with a video and I show you how to do something. I show you a project, I show you some numbers, something like that. But today it's really just going to be, here's what we're doing. And I hope this has been helpful just to show you what nursery looks like in the very, very late winter, really, really early summer. So on a backyard scale, this is what we do. I'd love it if you subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I love y'all, and hope you're having a great day. And I'll see you on the next one.